So in this video, I'm going to give my younger police officer self, and there I am actually, you see me there? It's a slimmer version, 40 years ago, but I'm going to give my younger self some brutally honest feedback. And it's a sort of feedback that I hope will help you in designing the most amazing policing career. And it's feedback which I wish I could have given myself 40 years ago. It would have been comforting. It would have built up my confidence. It would have reduced anxiety. It would have done so many things. But it's impossible to do that. Like it's 40 years ago. But you may benefit from these 10 things. These are 10 things that I would have told myself 40 years ago if I could have done that. So before I continue, who am I and why should you listen to anything I've got to say? My name is Brendan from Blue Light, and over the past 31 years now, I've been supporting people for the police recruitment process, for specialist interviews, for promotion boards. I served as a police officer in 3 different forces, Cheshire, Bermuda, and Greater Manchester Police for 28 years. And over the past decade, I've just been focusing on developing people to be the best version of their future constable or superintendent or chief superintendent self. So let's dive in. But first of all, where did all of this come from? Well, I was having a chat with one of our coaches the other day, and we were talking about the sort of things that we would tell our younger self. And out of it, I came up with a list of about 3 or 4 things. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought there's actually a lot more. There's a lot more. And it is brutal, some of it. It's absolutely brutal. Some of it, though, is reassuring. I would have been telling myself that it's okay. What you're doing now is the right thing to do. It's the right course of action. So it's brutal in 2 ways. 1, do more of the thing that was working that you should be proud of. And 2, get a grip. Like, seriously, get a grip. You ready to dive in? Hopefully you're going to find this useful. Hopefully it's going to help you during your amazing policing career, or if you're in a recruitment process, it's going to give you an insight into some of the reality of policing. So first of all, one thing that I think I did very well when I first joined, not during my time at the district training centre, that's another story, it just wasn't good for me, that place. I just didn't like it, and my sergeant hated me. He actually told me I'd never make a police officer as long as he had a hole up his backside. As it turned out, he got dismissed for gross misconduct several years later. So he got it wrong. It was him that was never going to make a police officer. But once I was operational, I was very naive. Like, I wasn't ready for the brutal onslaught of demand, and also the type of demand as well, like seeing dead bodies, seeing victims of domestic abuse. I was 20 years old, just 20. It's tough, it's really hard. But the one thing I did that was a good thing to do was I asked questions, but not just like the same question all the time. I would ask a question. If I didn't understand something, I'd ask questions to try and understand. And I would listen. I listened a lot to what was going on around me. I listened to listened and watched how particular officers dealt with things. And I worked out who my role models were. And I started mirroring some of the way they taught, some of the way they behaved, so that I was actually becoming a composite of several officers. And I can still remember those officers now. Like my old sergeant, Donald Blackhurst, bless his soul, passed away now. He was just incredible. Andy Melpers, my first inspector, just remember him forever. Dave Kime, one of the constables I worked with. Mike McBride, one of the constables I worked with. I'm name dropping here. They're awesome individuals. And I became a composite of all of those individuals and more, a lot more. So that's one thing to do, like model awesome behavior, but not just one officer's awesome behavior. Focus on several. Find out what each one of them does well, mirror it, model it, and become a better, more rounded individual as a result of that. Number 2, I volunteered. I was always volunteering to help. I was always volunteering to get involved in the sticky, messy jobs that other people didn't like to do. And that bore well. That built up my reputation among the team. It built up trust because I was always the one offering to help. And I realized later on as a neighborhood inspector that this is actually something you can formalize, although it may not seem formal. I call it investing in the emotional bank account. So for partner agencies, when I was a neighborhood inspector, I used to always ask, what can I do to help you? As opposed to, what can you do to help me? So I'd build up this bank of trust and goodwill. I'd invest in the emotional bank account. So when someone needed to help me, they would probably offer before I needed to ask. Is that making sense? So there, let's tick that one off actually. You're going to get it wrong. Like, you are going to get so many things wrong, especially in your first few years. And I wish I could have patted myself on the back and said, it's okay. It's okay. You messed up. It's okay. Because that's what's going to happen all the way through your career. Seriously, in my last year as a police officer, I did some massive mess ups. Some massive mess ups. You're going to get it wrong. But there's a difference between getting things wrong and making mistakes and misconduct. When you deliberately do something wrong, that's misconduct. When you make a mistake and it's an honest one and you can explain it, that's okay. But don't do what I used to do. I used to like bottle it up. I'd bottle up a mistake to the point where it got so painful emotionally that I had to disclose it. And it's not like a bottle of wine. It doesn't get, these problems don't get better. They don't improve. They just get worse. And it would occupy my mind. Even when I was asleep, I'd wake up and it'd be the first thing on my mind, the mistake I've made that I've not fessed up to. As soon as I became a sergeant and a confident sergeant, that's the first thing I insisted on. You mess up, you fess up. Like, mess up, fess up. I would worry more about the officers when I was a sergeant who didn't come into my office on a regular basis to go, Sarge, you're not going to believe what I've just done. I'd much rather that than, how's everything going, John? Oh, fine, Sarge, fine. No, just no. Just don't. Mess up, fess up. All right, there you go. You are going to get it wrong. Managing upwards. Oh my goodness. I was awful at this. Awful at this. For example, as an inspector, I had superintendents who were just like target monsters. All they wanted me to do was just make sure my team hit the targets. I thought it was some of the most useless, pointless stuff to do. And I would fight it. I would fight the system. I'd be there telling the superintendent, I am not putting one of my officers on the forecourt of a petrol station to stop drive-offs when the owner of the petrol station just doesn't care. You will do that, Inspector O'Brien. I will not. Like, it was brutal. The bashing and clashing of heads to the point where at times they just gave me a direct order. Just get it done. Stop gobbing off. Get it done. And I'd just have to get it done because it's an order, even though I'd think it's the most useless, pointless order going. Now, I've found ways to mitigate this, ethical ways, like the ban on search warrants for drugs. Yeah, we did have that in Greater Manchester Police because the emphasis was on vehicle crime and burglaries. So no surprise that some of our intelligence sources used to provide intelligence to say that people are exchanging laptops, stolen in burglaries, for drugs. And then we'd get the search warrant because it's to do with burglaries. I didn't manage upwards very well, though. I could have explained better to those bosses what my rationale was for our approach, because our approach was like destroying, dismantling, and disabling organised crime gangs and enabling the community to become a stronger, more cohesive version of itself. I was doing work that they just didn't understand. It was preventing crime. It was not just preventing crime, it was enabling people to have better lives. It was enabling people to have that sense of welfare that harks all the way back to the Peelian principles, that welfare in existence that Sir Robert Peel talks about. You know the one? The police of the public and the public of the police. Do you know what comes next? The police of the public and the public of the police. The police just being members of the public who are paid full time to carry out a role which is incumbent on every citizen in the interests of community, welfare and existence. And that's what I was doing. Now, I had a chief constable who was like all for that. He was loving what I did. So Peter Fahey actually wrote a paper for the Reform think tank on what we did and how we did it. Came out and joined me for a whole day. The examples he used as to what responsible citizenship meant and what could be were actually real live examples. He wasn't just like thinking about it, he'd met the people. So I was fortunate in that I had a very senior officer sort of protecting me a little bit. But without that, I would have been in such trouble. So Manage upwards. Learn how to manage upwards better than I did, because I was rubbish at it. All the way through my career, I was rubbish at it. Fear of rejection. Oh my goodness. When I was told I'd never make a police officer as long as I had a hole up my backside or his backside or whatever, I was I was devastated. Absolutely devastated. And it's because of this fear of rejection. Some people just aren't going to like you. Like, that's the way of the world. Some people will not like you. And I wish I could have gone back to my younger self and said, it's okay. You will do fine. Follow your path. It's okay if you're rejected by that sergeant or inspector, or it's okay if, I can't remember their name actually. No, actually I can remember their name. The one that told me I can't be trusted and is going to put me with someone else who's a snitch because I'd reported a fellow officer for assaulting a prisoner. And I felt so rejected by that sergeant. Message to my younger self would have been, it's okay. That individual needed to do some work on themselves, on their ethics, on their behavior, on their values. You are the one that could be trusted. Difficult times, like when you put that warrant card in your pocket, when you swear that oath of office to, mine was to the Queen, bless her soul, may she rest in peace, but you'll be swearing your oath of office to the King. It means something. Stick by it. Remember the values that you stand for now and that you'll stand for when you are a police officer. And that will help overcome that fear of rejection. Conflict management. Oh my word. My way is the only way. Oh, you idiot, Brendan. Just your way is not the only way. Actually, I mellowed as I went through my career and worked out that there's probably 10 to 20 different correct ways of achieving the same end. So I could have been better at managing conflict with my peers, as opposed to having just big disagreements with them. And big disagreements sometimes with my sergeants and inspectors. Not a good look. Not a good look. I wish I could have just asked the question, what would it take to move this forward? From your perspective, what would it take to move this forward in a positive way? And then just, whatever the thing is, just do that. Compromise. Find some form of compromise. I was not good at that. I got better at it through my career, but I wish I could have been better at it as my younger constable self. There you go. Something I did that I'm proud of. Values, ethics, the moral courage to be able to challenge misconduct. That's some of the toughest thing I did during my career. So much so that I remember on one occasion going to visit some friends, and I was so emotionally distraught from the fact that I'd had to challenge a fellow officer's behaviour. This is one who'd assaulted a prisoner. This was before body-worn video, before there were cameras in custody offices. And I was the custody officer on this occasion. I'm lawfully bound to record an assault on a prisoner. Plus, I've got a duty of care to that individual. I had to call out a doctor because they'd been hit side of the head on their ear. And I know that that can cause internal damage. And I had to report it. And the inspector, remember the inspector saying, what the F are you telling me this for? Why do I want to deal with this at 4 a.m? Why did you write that? And my response was like, do your job. Sir, just like, do your job. Interestingly, he was an acting temporary inspector. He never got put forward for promotion. That was it. When his time came to finish being acting, which got brought forward so that he was meant to be acting for months, he ended up acting for weeks. He never got promoted. The superintendent remembered this. And that's the other thing to remember. Like, officers have long memories. And this superintendent made it really clear that this individual is not suitable for promotion because he didn't get a grip of that thing. But I can still remember going to my friend's house that evening. As soon as he opened the door, I just burst in tears. It was just too much for me. Too much. But stand by it. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I stood my ground and did the right thing. Yeah, I'm proud of that. I retired with honour because of that. And I don't even remember the name of that temporary inspector. Like, that's the other thing, is when things like that happen, one day you just won't remember them. You remember the occasion, but be proud of it. Be proud of it. Whatever values and ethics that you have when you join and you develop once you join, stick with them. These will be some of the most challenging times. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. All right. Something else I was good at: vision setting, creating a clear and concrete, compelling vision for the future and bringing people with me. So that is something I pat myself on the back for and say, awesome. But I didn't recognize it at the time. It's only later on in my career I recognized, I think I'm pretty good at this. And it's only because of some 360 feedback I had where the individuals who were part of that 360 feedback, my constables, PCSOs, and sergeants, were saying, vision setter. And I was like, wow, cool. All right, this one, you've got to focus on this one. There is life outside the job. In my first few years, the job all consumed me. I can remember being at this party and I was talking to this very nice young woman, and she asked me this question. So, what do you do? I mean, I know you're a police officer, and you told me about that, but what else? I can still remember thinking, God, I used to scuba dive, I used to climb mountains, I used to play squash, I used to do all of these things, and now I don't. And that was a real kick up the backside for me. So that was about 3 or 4 years in. Don't be that person. Keep the life you have. Focus on it. Like, deliberately focus on it. Make time for it. It's so important. There is life outside the job. One day you'll resign or retire with honor. And if the job has consumed you, as it has for so many of my colleagues who've retired and suddenly found themselves like almost bereaved, feeling as though they're going through a bereavement because they're not part of the job anymore. Don't be that person. It was that party was the kick up the backside. And I recovered my love of scuba diving. I actually developed a second career as a scuba diving photojournalist for 25 years for a scuba diving magazine. I did so many other cool things, but that was the kick up the backside. So whoever that woman was, we didn't see each other after that, but thank you. Don't be that person. All right. Number 10. And actually, I've got a little bonus 11 for you, but I've just thought of it now. But number 10, on a daily basis, I wish I'd done this. Seriously, I wish I'd done this. Just ask yourself, what does my human need the most today to be the best version of myself? What does my human need me to do to look after me? Because if you can't look after the me, you can't look after the we. If you can't look after yourself, how can you look after other people? How can you be the best version of yourself in terms of being a partner, a father, or a son, or a daughter, or a mother, or sister? Or how can you be that best version of you if you don't look after yourself? And I wish I'd done that more. I wish I'd looked after myself more. And I still strive to do that. And I strive to ask myself this question, like, what does my human need? Because, look, you're the hero in your own story. Other people, a lot of people just don't care. They're the heroes in their own story. Look after yourself and ask yourself that question. And whatever answer you give yourself, just do it because you know it's the right thing to do. What does your little human need? Bonus. Yeah. One day you'll retire or resign. There's a big difference, though, between retiring or resigning or retiring or resigning with honor. Throughout your career, just think about it. Like, the thing I'm about to do or not do, will it enable me to retire or resign with honor? Or will it enable me to retire or resign and look back and think, I let myself down there. I could have taken action, or I could have done something or not done something that I would have been proud of, and I didn't because it was the tough decision. Flex those decision-making muscles, take those difficult and challenging decisions, and you will retire or resign with honor. And there's a big difference. There's a huge difference. So there you go, folks. It's like 10 bits of brutal feedback that I wish I could have given my younger self. Hopefully it's been helpful for you to help you navigate your policing career if you're in one at the moment, or if you're looking to join. to give you an insight into some of the realities of what I've got to say. I know I'm biased, but it is the best job in the world. Would I do it again? Absolutely, 120%. 120%. If I could go back in time, my biggest fear would be that I engaged in some practice or did something that led to a different path. I would take the same path every day. So if you're looking to join the police, awesome. We love you to bits. Kudos to you. If you're in the police service already, then I love you. That special kind of police love, because you're there helping to protect us, doing the right thing, serving without thanks at times. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.